In today's Apex Legends guide, I'll be showing you some tips on how to play a Bloodhound. Now, they're not one of my favorite characters, but I do think Bloodhound is one of the easier legends to pick up and play because of how straightforward their abilities are, and they're perfect for really aggressive players. So as usual, we're going to take a look at the abilities and then get into some gameplay tips. Timestamps will be in the comment section down below. These are Bloodhound's 3 abilities: their tactical Eye of the Allfather, their passive Tracker, and their ultimate Beast of the Hunt. Now, those are some long ass ability names, so in the video I'll be calling the tactical the Scan and the ultimate Beast Mode. Starting with the tactical Eye of the Allfather, Bloodhound releases a scan that highlights and tracks enemies in real time for 4 seconds even if they're behind cover, so basically wall hacks. But it's not limited to just people, this also highlights any object you can interact with in game, like loot crates, care packages, open doors, and even loot ticks. This also works for other Legends abilities if they're placeables like Caustic's traps or Watson's fences or even Octane's jump pad. You know, you get the idea. If you can interact with it, it'll show up when you use your scan. Bloodhound recently got a buff, so the cooldown for this ability is now 25 seconds and the range is 75 meters. Now, this isn't a 360 scan, it's a cone that's wide to the left and right, so it may seem like a 360, but it isn't. So you have to look in the direction of enemies that you want to scan. And it does go through walls, so if you're on the bottom floor of a building and use your scan, it will mark people that are on the top floor. For a better visual, here's how it looks from above. The passive Tracker allows you to hunt down other players by following clues that are left on the ground. The icons indicate what action that player did and how long ago it was. There's actually an icon for every single action in the game, but I'm not going through all of those. These icons disappear in 2 to 3 seconds while looking at them, but they stick around for 90 seconds, so you can follow a squad all over the map. When you see these clues, count backwards from 90. The closer you are to 0, the closer the enemies are. Also, look at this outer ring. It fills the closer you are to the squad. When you get to clues that are around 20 to 30 seconds, you should be able to see the people you're tracking in the distance. And if you hear gunshots close by, 9 times out of 10, that's them, and you can go and third party that fight. Every now and then, ravens will appear. I've done testing and I'm not 100% sure what they mean. I've also done some Googling and no one else seems to be, 100% sure what they mean. But from seeing them a lot, I think they mean you're either close to whoever you're tracking, but again, not 100% sure on that. So I would just stick to looking at the timers and the clues left behind. Lastly, the ultimate beast mode. This turns your screen black and white while only highlighting enemies red and displays all clues at once in your radius, and increasing Bloodhound's running speed by 30%. This lasts for 35 seconds. The reason they're blue on my screen is because I have on the colorblind mode, but normally they'd be red. Every time you knock down someone, this time is extended by 5 seconds. Cooldown for this ability is 3 minutes. That's the breakdown for all of the abilities. Now for the tips, starting with the tactical. As I mentioned earlier, the range of your scan is 75 meters. Since I've been playing Bloodhound for a while, I can gauge where my scans can and can't reach by now. If you're having trouble gauging where your scans can reach, a tip is to use pings as range finders. Place a location ping on where you want to scan and it'll always tell you the distance of how far you are from that ping. If it's below 75 meters, it'll reach, but if it's over 75, you'll have to get a bit closer before you scan. When it comes to tracking people, if you lose a trail, it's most likely because you went in a different direction, so go back to the last spot you saw a clue and hit your scan. It'll highlight any hidden clues in the distance and you can resume tracking. Bloodhound's ultimate kinda has a long animation, so always use this before running into fights. Even if your team runs ahead while you're going through the animation, it's fine, you'll catch up because of the speed boost. You can't stop this animation or cut it short, so if you decide to activate your ult in a fight and someone sees you, you're pretty much dead because you can't shoot back. Not only that, but Bloodhound's ult is extremely noticeable. You let out a loud roar, your eyes will be glowing red, and it sounds like blood dripping and heavy breathing. So if you decide to hide and use your ult mid-gunfight, everyone will be able to tell where it came from. While in beast mode, all the clues in the vicinity are brought up instantly, also making it easier to track down people if they decide to run away from the fight, and with your added speed, you'll catch back up to them. Here's how to play Bloodhound. Your role is a recon. Your scan highlights enemies and gives your team intel, but there's 2 ways that you can use the scan, although it does the same thing. offensively and defensively. If you're holding down a spot and you hear people approaching, hit your scan. 70% of the time a team that's pushing you will hesitate or just straight up stop their push once they get scanned. Because you can track them in real time, that makes them hesitate. People don't want to walk into a room knowing they'll get lasered because you know where they are and when they're about to come through that door. To use the scan offensively, when you're pushing a team, you want to wait till the last possible moment before scanning. When you get scanned, it's kind of like an announcement you're about to get pushed, so scan just before you get to them so they have very little time to prepare for your attack. By the time they get the scan notification, it's too late, you see where they are and you're already inside the building attacking. You should also scan often. I know I said a scan is like an announcement of where you are because everyone can see where it came from, but it's a fair trade-off. They get the general area of where you are, but you know their exact location. So if you think you hear people close to you or you see a trail of recent clues, scan to see if the people are nearby, get your team that intel so you can decide if you want to push that squad or run away. Scan often so you don't get surprised if a squad pulls up on you unexpectedly because you knew they were already there. When it comes to tracking people and following clues, you need to either be with your squad or slightly in front of them. If you're tracking from behind, they can meet the enemies before you have a chance to see the timer on the footsteps and let them know the squad you're tracking is close. This happened to me a couple times, so this is where I learned when you're playing Bloodhound, you need to be in front, picking the clues, letting your squad know where to go and how close the enemies are. Lastly, the ultimate, which is great for pushing fights. Everyone and their footsteps are highlighted. Also, you can use your scan while in the beast mode. So although you can see people clearly, hit a scan so you and your team can track them as well. Especially in smoke, whether the smoke is friendly or belongs to an enemy caustic or Mangalore, it can actually work against them. They can't see you, but you can still see them. So if you're getting pushed by a Bloodhound and you hear their ult go off, do not drop smoke, it will work against you. Here's another use for Bloodhound's ult I haven't seen much people doing. You get a speed boost, but it doesn't always need to be used offensively. The 30% speed increase makes Bloodhound as fast as Octane, but for 30 seconds. So when I'm in danger, I use my ult as a 30-second Octane stim. So if you're stuck in the second ring, which hurts a lot, or squad is closing in on you, hit your ult and get out of there. The key to playing Bloodhound is to be 110% aggressive. All of their abilities support a very aggro playstyle, so if you're a defensive, passive, and hesitant type of player, then maybe Bloodhound is not for you. You'll get the most out of this character when you commit to fighting teams. Follow the footsteps, hit your scans, pop your ult, and hunt them down. So that's the end of this guide. If you found it helpful, you can leave a like and share it around. If you think I left out any other useful tips, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Subscribe for more Apex Legends content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.